How many horses are there at Center for Racehorse Retraining?
Currently have 94.
That's almost as big as the entire population at Chugwater.
It is not a big town.
Horses are very much part of the history and culture of the state of Wyoming. American horse racing's first Triple Crown winner, Sir Barton, lived his final years and is buried in Wyoming. The town of Chugwater, population 175, calls itself a little town with a big heart. It's where Center for Racehorse Retraining is changing the perception of thoroughbreds when it comes to rehabilitation and research about the breed. CRR was founded by Kate Anderson in 2016.
Our original goal was to just rehome horses. So we wanted to pick them up from the track, figure out where they were as far as what sort of rehab they might need, retraining, put a good foundation on them, and then find homes.
The horse that put CRR on the map was Gino's Bambino, Kate's first racehorse. After claiming and racing Gino at Arapahoe Park in Colorado in 2015,
we took him home over the winter, turned him out, transitioned him to barefoot, and then we started doing classical dressage on him over the winter and brought him back to the track, and he seemed to perform better.
Gino's Bambino getting the better of the argument, and after 2 second-place finishes in a row, Gino's Bambino finds the finish line in time.
He was doing both racing and dressage at the same time, so he showed us the versatility of the thoroughbreds.
Gino and Kate were profiled on sports cable television back in 2017 when Gino was part of Colorado's Most Wanted Thoroughbred, a competition for off-the-track thoroughbreds, while he was still on the track.
The biggest thing is soundness. He feels a lot better. His back is softer. He's feeling good, and he's stronger. His hindquarters are a lot stronger than they used to be. I think out of the gates that's made a difference this last year.
He was the first, so that was a big deal, and he was also very sweet. He was kind and put up with a lot of our experiments and shenanigans.
Gino showed the benefit of cross-training for racing, but when it came to working with horses whose racing careers had finished, CRR learned that sometimes less is more.
I think the biggest thing was learning about letdown time, how much time they needed off the track. Some of them would slide into a second career easily, and we didn't have any drama, but quite a few of them needed a long time. They need to get their feet healthier, it seemed like they needed to redo their metabolism. From the beginning, we tried to transition everyone to barefoot. There were cases in the early stages where we didn't succeed, and that was fine. And we would put them in a herd, typically small herds at the time, and just let them be horses. So we wouldn't do much with them other than the basics like farrier and vet. It seems like leaving them alone and doing the basics helps them mentally come around very quickly. As soon as we start retraining them, they're a lot easier because they're quieter if you just let them be a horse for a while.
Then, as aftercare expanded with more organizations and more opportunities for former racehorses, CRR noticed
the need for more rehabilitation and retirement sanctuary, so we started going more down that route.
On one hand, thoroughbreds that do it all exemplify the breed, like successful racehorse and event horse Sora Kama. And CRR is showing that the thoroughbreds in their program focusing on rehabilitation and retirement by tapping into a sense of Americana with herds of horses roaming the open prairies also bring out the resilience of the breed.
Through the years, we started to, of course, get horses that couldn't find homes for soundness reasons, behavior reasons, whatever the reason might be. So we had to find solutions for those horses. Companion homes are limited. So we started turning them out in Chugwater, and then we noticed that they improved in their soundness, in their behavior, just overall health. And then we started to put more, I'd say, last-ditch effort horses out and saw the same benefit in horse after horse after horse. And then it started to become our, I'd say, primary spot for horses that had problems. So if a horse would come in with really any soundness issue, whether it was tendons or feet or backs, we would kick them out and then bring them back in for training. And that seemed to resolve a lot of our problems. we took those observations and ran with it. We've always heard, thoroughbreds can't live in that environment. They genetically have bad feet, they're hard keepers. So when we turned them out, we started doing it just in the summers, and then it started turning into year-round, and they ended up being quite hardy. So they're out there running around barefoot on rocky terrain and living on prairie grass in the middle of Wyoming blizzards, and they're doing great. So we realized how adaptable even thoroughbreds are, and how little we actually, I think, know about keeping domestic horses. The thoroughbred is resilient and misunderstood.
So I'm just gonna kind of scoop it a little bit, but that's more or less how I'm gonna leave him, because he needs every bit of protection that he can get out here. But what we don't want is something ripping off that is structural. So aside from that, just a little shaping here and there, helping him shorten up his toe because his toe was quite run forward.
The CRR team terms it relaxed care. Humans and horses work together. Any need for a halter while trimming?
Not generally. Usually it makes more trouble because the other horses get tangled in it. And again, along with our kind of whole plan of if they're not interested in being cared for, then we're not going to force it. The goal is to get them moving biomechanically in a way that's going to allow longevity and allow use of the horse, and keep them comfortable, keep them happy, give them the ability to have long-term careers, long-term soundness. And with us, we're able to achieve that here barefoot and generally quite readily. And we see horses that have had lots of other issues, including kissing spines and arthritis, that does not seem to impact them. Once we've gotten through a full distal limb rehab, they're able to be brought back into work, and some of the things that we thought were going to be limitations prove not to be.
This is a 20-year-old retired broodmare. She's one of the ones that has been here for a few years, and she doesn't require much maintenance anymore. Her feet right now are mostly self-trimmed, and we do her maybe once a year. So once we get them to a good spot, they often will just self-maintain.
We get them comfortable, we get them moving, we challenge their foot, and then we get them out onto the acreage to really try to build up and test those structures. And a lot of it has to do with just getting them moving. A good trim, which starts with evaluating the foot, making sure that we can pinpoint where the pain or the compromise in the structures is coming from, because I can't just fix symptoms. I have to actually fix what is causing the problem.
Ultimately, movement, I think, is the biggest thing. They move a lot. We'll be doing some studies to figure out how much, but I would estimate they're moving 15, 20 miles a day. It's mostly at a walk, so they'll get into this nice, long frame and walk like they should. And then they'll run in full race pace 2-3 times a day, usually. So movement, I think, is big, and then diet. They eat prairie grass and whatever shrubs and weeds they find, and they eat such a wide variety.
It's a unique approach to aftercare, and CRR hopes to partner with the horse racing industry at large.
What we're doing is really challenging the norm for the racing industry, and I think that we really don't want to rock the boat as far as that goes, but presenting new ideas as a way to improve their horses and improve how the racing industry is going.
How can you try to replicate something similar in a half an acre, 5 acres, 10 acres? We're creating, I'd say, not true track pens, but pens that maximize movement as much as we can. So, haying at the opposite end of the pen versus water.
The Wyoming prairies serving as a laboratory to learn about the thoroughbred breed.
When you get them off the track, I would emphasize a lot of movement, friends, and feet.